እሺ ደህና መሻችሁ። እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን። ተማሪዎች እስኪገቡ እየጠበቅኩ ነበር። 10 minutes already አልፏል። እሺ I think we should start. እሺ let's have a word of prayer እንጸልይና እንጀምራለን። ከኔ ጋር እንጸልያለን። እግዚአብሔር እንዲያስተምረን እናመሰግናለን። ልዑል እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ስለ ምህረት ቸርነትህ፣ ስለ እርዳታህ እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ክብር ለስምህ ይሁን። እግዚአብሔር አምላክ ሆይ ይህንን እድል ስለሰጠህን እጅግ አድርገን እናመሰግናለን። ጌታ ሆይ ባለፍናቸው ሳምንታት ወራቶች ውስጥ አንተ ከኛ ጋር ስለነበርህ እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ስላበረታህን፣ ስለረዳህን፣ ስላገዝከን ጀምረን መጨረስ እንድንችል እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ጤናችንንም ያለውን ሁኔታ ሁሉ ስለተቆጣጠርክልን ደህናና ሰላም ስላደረክልን እናመሰግናለን። ጌታ እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ደግሞ ለዚህ ቀን ደርሰናል። ጌታ ሆይ አሁንም ቅዱስን መንፈስን እንጋብዛለን። አሁንም የሚረዳውን ያው መንፈስን እንጋብዛለን፣ የሚያስተምረውን ጌታ ሆይ አሁንም ልባችንን በፊትህ ትሁት እናደርጋለን። ጌታ እግዚአብሔር ሆይ በፊትህ ነው ያለነው። በሚገባን እግዚአብሔር ሆይ በሚያስፈልገንም ደግሞ መንገድ እንድትናገረን ጌታ ሆይ ጊዜውንና ሰዓቱን እያንዳንዱን እኔንም ተማሪዎችንም እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ላንተ አሳልፌ እሰጣለሁኝ። እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ስለ ሁሉ ተመስገን። ጊዜውንና ሰዓቱን አንተ ተቆጣጠር በጌታ በኢየሱስ
አሜን።
Amen. So this is our last theme. This is I think I don't think it will take us more than 1 hour, but if you have any question we will we'll take the rest of the moment for that. If you don't, I think we can go earlier today. So the last topic is sacrifice. As I said the last 2 weeks, it is related to the previous themes, like starting from worship and the priest or priesthood and sacrifice. These 3 are interrelated. We cannot, in the Old Testament, we cannot talk about one and neglect the other 2, or maybe we can pick 2 or neglect 1. All 3 should go together. Yeah, a priest is there to worship God through the sacrifices, and the sacrifices alone cannot accomplish the purpose. It needs a sacrifice, and the purpose is to worship God. So these 3 topics are interrelated, and it would be good if you can study all 3 together. So as an introduction, sacrifice is a complex and comprehensive term, meaning it has different meaning and different reference. It's referring different things. but in its simplest form, it may be defined as a gift to God. Whatever kind of sacrifice it is, uh, no matter how complex and comprehensive it is simply defined as a gift to God. ማን ነው እንትኑን ሳይለንት ያላረገ ሰው? አይ ቲንክ ሳይለንት ብታደርጉ ድምፅ እየረበሸኝ ነው። It is a it is a presentation to deity of some material object, the possession of the offerer as an act of worship. So it could be a material. It is a material object. It is not just simply singing, as we do in our church today, and we call that worship, which is true. Singing is part of worship, but it's not the whole idea of worship. But it is a presentation to deity of some material object, and that material object is the possession of the offerer. It should be from their possession. Maybe it could be a peace offering, it could be thanksgiving from their fields, from their products. It could be from their flocks, but it is what they possess. It's not borrowed. They don't borrow it from others. It is the possession of the offer. The offer could be sacrificing to God in a sacrificial way, but it should be from his or from her possession. It should be from the possession of the offerer. And the other thing is it is an act of worship. This is how they worship uh, their God, the deity, and it may be attain. It may be to attain, restore, maintain, or to celebrate relation with the deity. Can you see the slide clearly?
No, we have seen on this half.
Half. Okay, I'll just take this one here. What about now? Okay, good. So it may be to attain, restore, maintain, or to celebrate friendly relation with the deity. So it is a material object. It is from their possession. It is also an act of worship, and it is for the purpose of attaining or restoring, maintaining, or celebrating friendly relation with the deity. So they might lose it because of their sins. They might lose it because of different reasons, but it is to attain, to restore it back, and also to maintain, to keep it, if even though they don't lose it, but they need to keep it, and also to celebrate friendly relation with the deity. The purpose of sacrifice could be total self-surrender to God, thanksgiving, or a form of appeasement. So the purpose could be a total self-surrender, which is when actually, to begin with, when we call it a sacrifice, it really asks or demands from the offerer some kind of surrender, and it is total self-surrender to God. Thanksgiving, it could be thanksgiving, or a form of appeasement, which is asking for forgiveness, asking for cleansing, asking for God's returning back to them from their sins. When we see the history of sacrifice in the Old Testament, it starts with the offering of Cain and Abel. We find it in Genesis chapter 4. Now, in that chapter, we read that Cain offers his offering was from the cereal and is called mancha, a gift or presentation. The same term is applied to Abel. Now, the terminology is not different, but the kind of the sacrifice or the gift they brought is different. But both brought a gift, both presented their sacrifices. There is no hint that the bloody sacrifice was in itself better than the unbloody one. I have heard some preachings which are saying that they actually they were trying to read this story through the lens of the sacrificial system, or through the lens of the work of Christ on the cross, being our sacrificial lamb. But when we read the passage, and if we want to be true or honest to the context of the passage, it is not because Abel brought a bloody sacrifice that his sacrifice was acceptable before God. So there is no hint that the bloody sacrifice was in itself better than the unbloody one, but it is shown that sacrifice without a right attitude of heart is not acceptable to God. So, what was the problem there was not the sacrifice, but the heart's attitude. These individuals brought their sacrifice to God. So, Cain's sacrifice was not acceptable before God because of his hurt attitude, not because of the kind of sacrifice he brought. Because when God instituted this sacrificial system during the time of Moses and Aaron, we can also see that this kind of offering, the kind of offering Cain offer, is also part of their sacrifices, or their gifts or their presentation before God. So it's not the presentation, but it's the heart's attitude that was right, that was not acceptable to God. This same truth is emphasized by the prophets and others, and is needed in this day as much as then. So throughout the Old Testament, this truth, which is God wants our heart's attitude more than our actions. We have seen that, especially through the stories, through the oracles, through the judgments, and also the warnings the prophets pronounced on the people. We can see that it is emphasized there, because God always was looking for the right attitude, was looking for he was the Lord God was looking for mercy. He was looking for love or respect for him, care for others more than the sacrifices they brought, which is true even for us today. It's needed. I don't think God would be really impressed with our songs. I don't think he will be impressed with our voices, our vocal skills and anything. He is actually more impressed and more into our way of life. What kind of life are we living? So the same is true to us, to Old Testament prophets and others. In this case, the altar would be of the common kind, and no priest was needed. So, from the story, from when we read Genesis chapter 4, you can, it's not, um, uh, explicitly written there, or shown there, but we can guess, if you will, that they used a common altar. The altar was not different, and there was no priest, but the individuals themselves brought this sacrifice before God, and the sacrifice were an act of worship, adoration, dependence, prayer, and possibly propitiation. So yeah, they brought their sacrifices, but Cain's heart was not in the right position when he was offering his sacrifices. So it started here. The story started here in the story of Cain and Abel. And then the next individual we see is Noah in Genesis chapter 8. So his sacrifice was followed and celebrated the significance and the inspiring event of leaving the ark and beginning life anew. So he brought his sacrifice, or he built an altar and bring his gifts before God when he left the ark after the flood that wipes out everybody from the earth. So when he went out of that, he wanted to celebrate the significance and the awe inspiring event of leaving the ark and beginning life anew. So it's kind of Thanksgiving. It's kind of celebrating maybe God's goodness, maybe God's help, maybe God's, God kept his word. What he told him, he accomplished. So he was offering that in response to the event. He offered burnt offerings of all the clean animals. So he was the first one to offer the burnt offerings of all the clean animals. On such a solemn occasion, only an olah, which is burnt or whole offering, would suffice. So what he was sacrificing was a burnt offering. So I was actually uh, asking myself and wondering, if you remember when he was first instructed by God to um, take two pairs of living creatures from different kind, from each kind, right? And then he took those numbers inside, and when he went out, he offered a burnt offering of all the clean animals. It does not necessarily mean that he sacrificed all the animals, but what if those animals were only the two kinds, and what happened to it? So it just thought that came across into my mind. It's not that much necessary, but and also that much important for our topic. But I was just wondering. The custom of using domestic animals had arisen at this time. So this is the time where domestic animals were start used as an offering, burnt offering, whole offering. So that means the whole animal is burnt before God. The sacrifice expressed adoration, recognitions of God's power. So most probably, this is one of the purpose of Noah's sacrifice, to recognize God's power and sovereignty, because he has experienced that. God, the heavens was open, and he poured out rain, and he wiped out all creations from the earth, and he saved those who were in this ark. So it might be a recognition of God's power and sovereignty, a gift to please Him. For it is said, He smelled a sweet savor and was pleased. So God gave a positive response to Noah's sacrifice, because it says He smelled it and He was pleased because of its sweet savor. It was an odor of satisfaction or restfulness. Whether or not the idea of apology was included is difficult to prove. So there was nothing for Noah to ask for any apology, to ask for any forgiveness, to sacrifice this as a sacrifice, as a some kind of substitution for his sins and anything, but it is mostly an odor of satisfaction or restfulness, and and a recognition, or maybe a gift to please God. Next to Noah, uh, we also find Abraham's sacrifice in Genesis chapter 12. Abraham lived at a time when sacrifices and religion were virtually identical, which means that other nations were also exercising this kind of sacrifices, this kind of religious activities in their own places. So he lived in that time when sacrifices and religion was virtually identical. No mention is made of his offering at all, but on his arrival at Shechem, he erected an altar and sacrificed there. At Bethel, also in 12:8, and on his return from Egypt, he worshipped there as well. So it seems like wherever he go, or maybe wherever he went into a new place, that was the first thing Abraham used to do. He will just build an altar and then sacrifice there for the Lord. Such sacrifices express adoration and prayer and probably propitiation. They constitute worship, which is a complex exercise. So the purpose could be all of these or one of or two of these. And at Hebron, he built an altar in Genesis 13, officiating always as his own priest. So during his time, and also Noah's time, actually, the head of the house serves as or maybe acts as a priest of the house. So he was his own priest. He was his own priest for himself and also for his household as well. In Genesis 15, verse 4, he offers a covenant sacrifice. When the animal were slain, divided, the parties set up opposite each other and prepared for the appearance of the other party to the covenant. If you remember, we have seen this when we were studying about the covenant. So in this chapter, he offered a covenant sacrifice. The exact idea is the killing of these animals may be difficult to find, but the effect is to give the occasion a great solemnity and the highest religious sanction. So it was not for the purpose of worship, it was not for the purpose of adoration, it was not even for the purpose of propitiation. It was just an act of, or maybe a physical evidence of the covenant that was made between God and Abraham. Next to Abraham, actually, if we go chronologically, we need to talk about as well Job as well. Job, some believed, I also believe that Job lived in the time of the patriarchs, because from chapter 1, verse 5, we can see that he was acting as a priest of his own house. He was sacrificing or bringing offering on behalf of his children. He was bringing offering for himself as well. So whatever may be the date of the writing of the book of Job, Job is represented as living in the patriarchal age. He constantly offers sacrifices on behalf of his children, as I said, and that was for the purpose of sanctifying them. His purpose, no doubt, was to atone for possible sin. Some faith movement individuals, I heard them talking about that this because of this um, deeds of Job. They are saying that he was afraid, or maybe he was led by fear, and which is uh, I think out of context. I don't think it was out of fear, but it was out of reverence to God and out of knowing his kids, maybe probably. And whenever his kids were together, there was a custom for them to, have a feast. When there is feast, they could be drinking. When there is drinking, they could be, becoming drunk and, saying or doing things that was not according to, that was not pleasing to God. So he was actually being careful, and it was no doubt to atone for possible sin. The sacrifice were mainly propitiation. This is true also of the sacrifice of his friends in chapter 42. When you read verse 7 and 8, he was actually bringing sacrifice on behalf of his friends to atone for them. He was actually instructed by God to do so. So when we think about Job, I don't know, I'll just throw this for your further research and further reading. It is about the timing of Job. Some believe that because of this action, because Job was acting as a priest for his family, his story should be dated in the time of the patriarchs. But when you read the dialogue between his friends, the whole chapter, apart from chapter 1, chapter 2, the whole chapter, especially when they start quarreling and dialoguing uh, with him, his friends, the theology, all three of them, the theology they based their argument was a latter time theology. It was not a theology of the time of the patriarch. So because of that theology, some are saying that no, it was not written during the time of the patriarchs. Other even they have the audacity to say that it's a fictional person. But I'll just throw this for your further reading, further research. You can read and dig about this and have your own stance. Isaac is a son of Abraham in Genesis chapter 26, verse 25. He seems to have had a permanent altar at Beersheba and to have regularly offered sacrifices. So he was different from his father. He was not building altars in different places. It seems like he has one permanent place at Beersheba, and he have regularly offered sacrifice. Even though the altar is one, he used to do that regularly, and the purpose is adoration, uh, expiation, and supplication would constitute his chief motives. So it could be all of this. Jacob in Genesis 28, verse 18, Jacob's first recorded sacrifice was the pouring of the oil upon the stone at Bethel. If you remember, when he was running away from his house, his father, he poured out an oil as a sacrifice, and he vowed before God. This was consecration or dedication in recognition of the awe-inspiring presence of the deity. After his covenant with Laban, he offered sacrifice and they ate bread. We find this also in Genesis 30:31. So even though he was in another place among other individuals, you can see that this, as in the first slide, during the time of Abraham, we say that offering sacrifices and also having this kind of experience in religion is a kind of a common experience or a shared experience of this patriarch, the Israelites patriarch, and also other nations. So you can see here as well that he was having that kind of experience with Laban. So after his covenant with Laban, he offered sacrifices and they ate bread. So this sacrificial system or offering a sacrifice before God is not something that is unique to the Bible people. It was the experience of other nations as well. At Shechem, Jacob erected an altar in Genesis 33. At Bethel in Genesis 35, and at Beersheba he offered sacrifice to Isaac's God. So we find in all these places Jacob was also sacrificing and bringing, erecting an altar and sacrificing to God. Israel in Egypt. This is very interesting. Israel in Egypt were also engaging in some kind of sacrifices. While the Israelites were in Egypt, they would be accustomed to spring sacrifices and spring feasts, for these had been common among the Arabs and the Syrians for centuries. So it is while they were living there in Egypt, the Arabs and the Syrians, they have this custom. So it should be, or they should be, accustomed to this kind of sacrifice, or maybe involved. We don't know, but it's offering a sacrifice is not something new for these people. It was not Moses who introduced them to these sacrifices or feasts. Um, he just gave them what is acceptable, what is not acceptable according to the law. He gave them a structure. He gave them patterns. He gave them steps they should accomplish. But this is actually, it's not a guess. It's not because we just have stories or histories of other nations and that we're imposing. But from Moses' dialogue with Pharaoh, we can also predict that actually they are accustomed to this kind of spring sacrifices and spring feasts. At this spring festival, it was probably customary to offer the firstlings, which is the first agricultural product or animal offerings of a season of the flocks to the deity. So yes, these Arabs have this system, spring festival system or spring sacrifices, and during that festival, what they are probably doing is that bringing their first agricultural products or animal offerings of the season to their Lord, and they sacrifice. At the harvest festival, sacrificial feasts were celebrated. So it's not only in the eating, dancing, and singing, but also there is also sacrificial feasts involved. And during that sacrificial system, they brought first agricultural products or first animal offerings of the season. It was to some such feasts Moses said Israel as a people wished to go in the wilderness. So when Moses was instructed by God to tell Pharaoh to leave or to allow his people to go to a certain place. He's showing them, and the purpose was to bring a sacrifice, right? To offer a sacrifice to God. So some scholars believe that Moses was referring to this feast when he was actually asking Pharaoh to leave the people to go to sacrifice to their God. Pharaoh understood and asked who was to go. In Exodus chapter 10, verse 8, he asked who is going, and Moses told him everybody, including their flocks, including their herds, every individual will be going. And Pharaoh said, no, you can go, but leave your flocks and herds here. But in Genesis chapter 10, verse 9, Moses demanded flocks and herds for the feast is also important. So this feast, most believe that this feast is a feast of or the harvest feast or sacrificial feasts they were celebrating or offering to God. Pharaoh would keep the flocks in Exodus chapter 10, but Moses said they must offer sacrifices and burnt offerings. So they are actually celebrating or maybe sacrificing animals based on this feast. Jethro in Exodus 18 is another individual we find in the Pentateuch who was offering a sacrifice as a priest of Midian. Jethro was an expert in sacrificing. So he's not part of the patriarchs. He is from Midian, but he still was offering a sacrifice. On meeting Moses and the people, he offered both olah and zavakim, which is animal offering, and made a feast. So individuals, as we see, as Abraham and others were doing this kind of offerings. Moses onward is somehow different because the Levitical priesthood is instituted now. So it is instituted from the time of Moses, and with that, a new dispensation of sacrifice started. At this time, sacrifices as worship requirement received a legal backing, and comprehensive regulation followed. So it was not based on their understanding or maybe a copy of, other nations, but it has a requirement, a legal requirement, and also comprehensive regulations they need to follow. So the Levitical priesthood, instituted by Moses, brought some kind of structure, some kind of direction, some kind of requirement, some kind of regulation when it comes to sacrificing God and worshiping Him. This detailed description of the types of sacrificing in the Old Testament discussed below came from this period. So what we are going to discuss next is focusing on this detailed description or this type of sacrifices, the sacrifices God instructed or the sacrifice God gave to Moses with requirements and regulations. So let us see the types of sacrifices they were offering. Two kinds of sacrifices are recognized in the Old Testament and required of in the Old Testament, which are these are the two types are blood oriented and non-blood oriented sacrifices. So we can decide this Levitical sacrificial system instituted by Moses into two categories. One is blood oriented, the other one's non-blood oriented sacrifices. Under each, there are four sacrifices or types of sacrifices we will discuss next. So four types of blood oriented sacrifices are described as follows. The first one is Holocaust or whole burnt offering. Mostly in Hebrew it is called olah. Olah means it's to go up. It's a whole burnt offering. It's a burnt offering, and everything will be burned, and the smoke will go up. So that is why they call it olah. A burnt offering, sometimes whole burnt offering, is derived from the verb olah, to go up. It may mean that which goes up to the altar, probably አልተሩ ላይ የሚያወጡት ሊሆን ይችላል, or that which goes up in the smoke to the sky. ሙሉ ለሙሉ ወደ መሰዊያ ላይ የሚያወጡትን ሊወክል ይችላል፣ ወይም ደግሞ መሰዊያ ላይ ሙሉ ለሙሉ ካወጡት በኋላ ሙሉ ለሙሉ የሚያቃጥሉትንና ጭሱ ስሞኩ ወደ ሰማይ የሚወጣውንም ሊወክል ይችላል። The term applies to animal or fowl when entirely consumed upon the altar, the skin of the animal being taken by the priests. So it's apart from the skin, everything will be burned. So the skin will be taken off by the priestess, but the rest of the animal part, inside and outside, all will be burned, totally wholly burned on the altar. This was perhaps the most solemn of the sacrifices and symbolizes worship in the full sense, which is adoration, devotion, dedication, supplication, and at times expiation. It is total adoration or to God in a full sense, or devotion to God. So whoever brought this sacrifice before the priest, what he's saying that I am totally devoted to you. I am totally expressing my adoration to you, dedication to you, supplication to you. So it's a kind of total sacrifice or symbolizing worship in the full sense. The second bloody sacrifice is sin offering. Sin offering, it is a special kind of offering. It is called chotah or chota. Accent is ይለያያል ስፔሊንጉን ብታዩት. It is a sin offering, a special kind, first mentioned in the Mosaic legislation. So sin offering is the first one we can see after Moses instituted the Levitical priesthood. So it is something new. They started offering. So it is called sin offering. It is essentially expiatory, intended to restore covenant relationship with the deity. So restore means that relationship, covenant relationship, was somehow lost, and it should be actually because of their sin. አይደል? የሆነ ኃጢአት ሰርተው ከእግዚአብሔር ጋር ያላቸው ቃል ኪዳን ሲቋረጥ ያንን ሪስቶር ለማድረግ sin offering ይቀርባል። So from the name itself we can see that it has to do with sin. The special features of this sin offering were: one, the blood must be sprinkled before the sanctuary, put upon the horns of the altar of the incense, and poured out at the base of the altar of burnt offering. So the blood is not going to be burned together with the animal on the altar. Actually, it will be sprinkled on the sanctuary. It will be put on the horns of the altar of the incense and also pour out at the bases of the altar of burnt offerings. ስለዚህ ደሙን ያፈሱታል. And the flesh was holy, not to be touched by worshipper, but eaten by the priests only. So this sacrifice sin offering is not going to be burned, but it is going to be eaten by the priest only. So the worshipper is not allowed to touch it. It's a holy sacrifice. The special ritual of the Day of Atonement centers on the sin offering. So what they are offering during the time of the atonement, excuse me once. ይቅርታ በስፔሻል በዴይ ኦፍ አቶንመንት ጊዜ የሚያቀርቡት ሳክሪፋይስ ዲስ ካይንድ ኦፍ ሳክሪፋይስ ነው ማለት ሲን ኦፈሪንግ ነው so it is the second type of offering and it has to do with sin. The third type of blood oriented suffering is a guilt offering, or it is also trespass offering or an offering for sin. It's another kind of offering for guilt for sin. A special kind of sin offering introduced in the Mosaic law. It is also new for them. It was not exercised before the Mosaic law, and it's concerned with offenses against God, and it also could be an offense against man that could be estimated by money value and thus covered by compensation or restitution accompanying the offering. So they will also be offering or bringing this guilt offering, but also there is a money value they will also bring together with the sacrifice. The ram of different degree of value and worth, at least 2 shekels, was the usual victim, and it must be accompanied by full restitution with an additional fifth of the value of the damage. So any offense against God, any offense against man, estimate ተደርጎ value አብሮ ይቀርባል ማለት ነው። value አብሮ ይቀርባል። So common የሆነው በusually የሚቀርበው a ram of different degree of value and worth at least 2 shekels. 2 ሸክል worth የሚያደርግ እና ram አንድ ላይ ይቀርባል ማለት ነው። And it must be accompanied by full restitution with an additional fifth of the value of the damage. So damage የተደረገው ነገር fifth of the value አብሮ በመቅረብ totally restitute ያደርገዋል ማለት ነው። And this kind of guilt offering is also exercised by the leper and Nazareth could offer he lambs in a sense a male lamb, and the leper also is offering, because the leper is considered as someone who's guilty because of his leprosy. The guilt toward God was expiated by the blood poured out, and the guilt towards men by the restitution and the fine. So አንድ በደል ሰው ሲፈጽም እግዚአብሔር ላይም ሰውም ላይም ነው በደል የሚፈጽመው። ስለዚህ የሚያቀርበው መስዋዕት ደሙ በፈሰሰ ጊዜ በእግዚአብሔር ፊት ይቅርታን ያሰጣለታል። አብሮ ደግሞ የሚያቀርበው restitutions የሚያቀርበው ፋይን ቅጣቱ ቫልዩ ሞኔታሪ ሊሆን ይችላል የተለያየ ቫልዩ እሱ ደግሞ ከሰው ጋር ያለውን ሪሌሽንሺፕ ሪስቶር የሚያደርግበት ነው ማለት ነው። ሶ በእግዚአብሔር ፊት ይቅርታን ጠይቆ ብቻ አይደለም በዚህ ሳክሪፋይስ ውስጥ የሚያልፈው በራድ ሴም ታይም ደግሞ ከዳሜጅ ያደረገውንም መክፈል አለበት ማለት ነው። The calling of the servant as in Isaiah 53 verse 10, the suffering servant is also called Asham, and it shows the value attached to this offering. So ስለ በደላችን አይደለ ስለ በደላችን ተላልፎ እንደተሰጠ Isaiah 53 ያሳያል እና which is also part of or maybe referring to this kind of offering. The last bloody offering, oriented offering is peace offering. A peace offering generally used the plural shalamim, only once shalem in Amos 5, and when it says, if it is plural, it means it is more than one, more than one. So these were sacrifices of friendship, expressing or promoting peaceful relationship with the deity. So it is for the sake of relationship, to maintain or maybe to express their friendship and then their relationship with their deity, and almost invariably accompanied by a meal or feast, an occasion of great joy. So they of course bring their sacrifice, their peace offerings before God, and then they will not just give that offerings to the priest and just leave, but they stay there and also participate in meal, or maybe feast, and also it is accompanied by a great joy. So they're expressing their friendship, they're expressing their relationship with God. ስለዚህ ህብረት የሚያደርጉበት የህብረት ምግብን የሰላም ኦፈሪንግ ነው የሚለው የህብረት ምግብን በዛው ቦታ ላይ መሰዊያው ቦታ ላይ ሆነ የሚበሉበት ነው። They are sometimes called Zabhakim, sometimes Zabach or Shalamim, and were of different kinds, such as thanks offering. With the first one is with thanks offering, a different kind of ብያቸዋል ቅድም plural ነው ያልነው የተለያየ ሶስት ሚኒመም ሶስት አይነት ነው እንደዚህ አይነት ይሄ ኦፈሪንግ አንደኛው thanks offering ነው, which expresses the gratitude of the giver because of some blessings. maybe እርሻቸው ጥሩ ምርትን ሰጥቷቸው ሊሆን ይችላል፣ ከብቶቻቸው any blessings ከአምላክ ተቀበልነው ብሎ ለሚያስቡት ለሚያምኑት blessing ያንን gratitudeያቸውን ምስጋናቸውን ለመግለጥ የታንክስ ኦፈሪንግ ያቀርባሉ። it's part of peace offering ነው። ሁለተኛ ነው free will offering ነው, bestowed on the deity out of a full heart. It is freely, they just wanted to offer to God. So it's a free will offering, part of the offering. በቃ ምንም ከምንም ነገር ጋር attached ያልሆነ ግን with their full heart ለእግዚአብሔር የሚሰጡት offering ነው። የመጨረሻ ደግሞ votive offering, which were offered in fulfillment of a vow. ማለት እግዚአብሔር ስለተስለው ያንን ነገር እግዚአብሔር ሲፈጽምላቸው ለዛ የሚሰጡት ምላሽ ወይ የሚያመጡት መልስ ነው። so it is a peace offering, plural ነው ያልነው ለዚህ ነው። generally ሶስቱም peace offering ተብሎ ሊጠራ ይችላል፣ ግን it has its own purpose and different kinds ማለት ነው። non-blood oriented sacrifices include meal offering, minchah, it's a meat offering. A gift or presentation at first applies to both bloody and unbloody sacrifices. In Genesis chapter 4 የምናገኘው ነው። meal offering ነው, it's not a meat, it should be meal offering. ይቅርታ it's a meal offering, a gift or presentation at first applies to both bloody and unbloody offerings. During the time of Genesis chapter 4 ላይ ያለው ሁለቱንም Genesis chapter 4 ላይ የቃየንና የአቤል ኦፈሪንግ ማለት ነው። ለሁለቱም ይሄንን መጠቀም ይቻላል, but in Moses time confined to cereals. ይሄ ሚት አቤል ያቀረበው ጋራ ተመሳሳይ አይደለም። it is cereal ነው, whether raw or roasted, or maybe ground or flour or baked and mixed with oil and frankincense. በየትኛው ፎርም ሊሆን ይችላል ግን ከምርታቸው የሚያቀርቡት sacrifice ነው ማለት ነው. This cereal were the product of man's labor with the soil and it's not fruit አይደለም ከእርሻቸው ላይ በላባቸው ከአፈር ያገኙትን ሲሪየል ነው የሚያቀርቡት በተለያየ ሙሉ ምንም ሳይነካ ጥሬውን ሊያመጡ ይችላሉ ቆልተው ሊያመጡት ይችላሉ ፈጭተው ሊያመጡት ይችላሉ አንዳንድ ጊዜ ደግሞ ሰርተው አብኩተውትም ሰርተውት በኦይል በተለያየ ነገር ሰርተውትም ሚክስ አድርገው ሰርተውትም ሊያመጡት ይችላሉ ግን it's not fruit ከሶይል የተገኘ ቢሆንም it's a cereal it's not fruit and thus represented the necessity and result of life if not life itself so it's ህይወት አለ አሁን ህይወት እየቀጠለ ነው ህይወት አለ ያንን represent የሚያደርጉበት ነው it's very important ያንን result of life የመኖራቸው የማፍራታቸው ውጤት እንደሆነ የሚያሳዩበት ነው they were the invariable accompaniment of animal sacrifice and in one instance could be substituted for them ከአኒማል ሳክሪፋይስ ጋር አንዳንድ ጊዜ አብሮ ያቀርቡታል አንዳንድ ጊዜ ደግሞ ምናልባት የአኒማል ሳክሪፋይስንም ሰብስቲቲዩት አድርጎ ሊቀርብ የሚችል መስዋዕት ነው ማለት ነው the term mincha describes a gift or token of friendship in Isaiah 39 an act of homage in 1 Samuel tribute propitiation to the friends wronged to procedure favor or procure favor or assistance ስለዚህ እነኚህን ሁሉ ነገሮችን ለማግኘት የሚጠቀሙበት ነው so the context determine ማለት ነው ምንድነው ፐርፐዙ ለምንድነው ይሄንን ሳክሪፋይስ ይጠቀሙ የነበረው ይሄንን ጊፍት as a token of friendship ነው ያመጡት ወይስ ለሚቅርታ ለመጠየቅ ነው እየመጣ ያለው በሆነ ምክንያት በሆነ ሁኔታ ላይ እግዚአብሔር እንዲረዳቸው ፌቨር እንዲያገኙ አሲስታንት እንዲያገኙ ነው የሚመጣው so it has different direction ማለት ነው different meaning አለ ኮንቴክስቱ ዲተርማይን የሚያደርገው so እንደዚህ እነኚህን ፓሴጆች ሄዳችሁ ብትመለከቱ it's the same meal offering but the purpose could be different the other three are the first one the second one is wave offering usually the breast the priest's share of the peace offering which was waved before the altar by both offerer and the priest together this is symbolic of its representation to deity and given back by him to the offerer to be used in the priest's service so it's a wave offering ይባላል a heave offering sometimes lifted up or properly separated from the rest and given to the service of the deity usually the right shoulder or thigh was thus separated from the priest the term is applied to products of the soil or portion of the land separated unto the divine service and the last one is an abolition or offering another generic term for all kinds of offerings animal vegetable or even gold and silver ይሄ እንደውም ከሲሪያልም ከአኒማልም ከሁሉም ይሄድና አልፎ ሌሎች ስጦታዎችንም የሚያካትት ነው ጎልድ ቢያመጡ ሲልቨር ቢያመጡ any material things ቢያመጡ vegetable ቢያመጡ ያንን ሁሉ የሚያካትት ነው derived from the verb ካራባ እኛ መቅረብ ቀረበ ከምንለው ጋራ ይገናኛል የሚለው ሳውንድ አክቹአሊ የላቸው እዚህ ትሮታቸው ውስጥ የሚጠቀሙት to draw መቅረብ ማለት ነው በቃ መቅረብ የሚያቀርቡት ነው እግዚአብሔር ፊት የሚያቀርቡት ነው it signifies what is drawn or brought near and given to God ወደ እግዚአብሔር የመጣ ተይዞ የመጣ በእግዚአብሔር ፊት የሚቀርብ ማለት ነው ማለት ነው so እንደዚህ በሁለት ተከፋፍሎ ሳክሪፋይሱ ሊታይ ይችላል so strictly bloody እና non bloody የሚለው strictly ሲለየው አናይም ግን ማጆሪቲ bloody ወይ bloodን ኢንቮልቭ ያደረጉ ሳክሪፋይስ አሉ ደግሞ ከብለድ ውጪ የሚቀርቡ ሳክሪፋይስ አሉ ግን አንዳንድ ተርሚኖሎጂዎች ደግሞ ለሁለቱም ጥቅም ላይ ሲውሉ ማየት እንችላለን። What is the aim? The aim of sacrifice act, sacrificial act ምንድነው ዓላማው? ለምንድነው ይሄንን የሚያቀርቡት? The first one is sacrifice as an expression of dependence. Dependence implies what? Vulnerability. በቃ ላንተ አንችልም vulnerable ራሳቸውን የሚያደርጉበት ነው። አያም ባላቀረቡ ቁጥር እችላለሁ እያሉ ነው። እኔ በቃለሁ ኑሮንም ለመምራት ጠላትንም ለመቋቋም ይችላል for anything እችላለሁ የሚሉበት ነው። ግን whenever a household or an individual or as a nation, as a tribe and clan, they offer their sacrifice, what they are saying is that we are totally dependent on you. So dependence implies to vulnerability. Sacrifice is a ritual which attempts to stabilize the situation. So they might be in a vulnerable situation because of their sins, because of their guilt, you name it. But in order to change that and stabilize their situations, they use sacrifice. Look, in sacrifice, I mean, I really appreciate or maybe really touched by their faith. Faith is still very important. አይደለ? በእምነት እንዴት አቅርበው ስታብላይዝ አድርጓቸው ይሄዳል። ኃጢአት ይሰማቸው ነበር፣ ኃጢአትን እንዳደረጉ ያውቁ ነበር፣ እግዚአብሔርን በደልን ብለው ያስባሉ። ይመጡና ያንን ሳክሪፋይስ ሲሄዱ some kind of stabilized የሆነ ሲቹዌሽን ውስጥ ሲገቡ እንዲገቡ ያደርጋቸዋል sacrifice. It's a ritual. Actually, rituals has this kind of tendency. It consists of a symbolic act of subordination under the deity who believed to be in charge of the forces which determine life. So ህይወት ደህና እንዲሆንላችሁ ላይፍን ዲተርማይን የሚያደርግ ኃይል ላለው መለኮት አምላክ በቃ ለሱ ተገዥ መሆናቸውን ሲምቦሊካሊ የሚያሳዩበት ነገር ነው። በቃ ለሱ ኑሮ የለም ህይወት የለም ብለው የሚያሳዩበት ነው። And the primary motive is not the fulfillment of a divine demand, but the acknowledgement of dependence through a sign of submission. So this is a right attitude, or maybe an attitude they should have. ሊይዙት የሚገባ attitude ይሄ ነው። እግዚአብሔር ዲማንድ ስላደረገባቸው the divine የሆነው ፐርሰን ዲማንድ ስላደረገባቸው ተገደው የሚያመጡት ሳይሆን እነሱ ራሳቸው ዲፔንደንት እሱ ላይ መሆናቸውን አክኖሌጅ አድርገው የሚያቀርቡት sign of submission. So from the offerer, from their side, it is a sign of submission. እንጂ በቃ አቅርቡ ብሏል ባላቀርብ ጉዴ ፈላ በሚል ሴንስ የሚያቀርቡት አይደለም። በእነሱ በኩል ወይም ደግሞ ትክክለኛ አቲቲዩድ የሚባለው ለእግዚአብሔር መገዛታቸውን በእግዚአብሔር ላይ መደገፋቸውን submissionአቸውን የሚያሳዩበት ያንን ዕውቅና የሚሰጡበት አክት ነው። So primarily motive should not be, or it's not the fulfillment of a divine demand, but man, human beings tend to incline to the first one አይደለ? በቃ ስለተገደደ ብቻ ለእግዚአብሔር እንደሚያቀርብ አድርጎ ሊያስብ ይችላል። ግን even today, especially when we talk about prayer, and spiritual disciplines ስናወራ አንዳንድ ጊዜ የሚያስብናቸው ወይም ደግሞ ባንደው እንኳን ባንል ልክ ጸልየን ስንጨርስ በቃች ስለሆነ አንድ ነገር አደረኩ ብለን የምንሄድበት አይነት ነገር ነው። ሶ ዲፋይን የሆነ ዲማንድን የምንቀርብበት ሳይሆን ለእግዚአብሔር መገዛታችንን አይደል ለውሏችን ለኑሯችን ለህይወታችን በሱ ላይ ዲፔንደንት መሆናችንን ራሳችንን ሰሚት አድርገን የምናሳይበት። So the same is true to them as well. Sacrificial system ላይ ስንመጣ sacrifice assumes that the deity might be disposed favorably by human gratitude and servitude, and that the deity wrath may flare up if a human acknowledgement of dependence is not made manifest in some ways. So even though it was not primarily, or the primary motive was not to fulfill a divine demand, ግን ባልተደረገ ጊዜ ግን በእነሱ ላይ ግን የሚያመጣው ቁጣ አለ wrath አለ። So yes, በትክክለኛ መንፈስ በትክክለኛ ልብ እንዲያቀርቡ በዛ ሞቲቭ እንዲያቀርቡት ዲማንድ ቢደረጉም consequently ግን ደግሞ እነሱ ላይ ይሄ ሳክሪፋይስ ያለው ደግሞ ወይም አለማቅረብ ደግሞ የሚያመጣው የእግዚአብሔር ወይ የመለኮት ቁጣ ነው። The second aim of a sacrifice is as an acknowledgement of guilt, an acknowledgement of guilt. The awe associated with ultimate dependence translates into trepidation when guilt comes into a picture. መጀመሪያ ላይ ሳክሪፋይሱን ሲያቀርቡ የመጀመሪያ ፕራይመሪ ዓላማው በፈቃዳቸው ለእግዚአብሔር የሚገዙበት እንደሆነ አይተናል። ግን ultimately dependent ባልሆኑ ጊዜ which is ኃጢአትን በሰሩ ጊዜ ይሄ ሳክሪፋይስ ደግሞ አሁን ሌላ ፎርምን ይይዛል ማለት ነው። ምክንያቱም guilt now come into picture. ስለዚህ አሁን it is not acknowledgement of dependence, it's not acknowledgement of submission, it's not acknowledgement of God's importance in their life. It is now maybe for the sake of forgiveness, for the sake of cleansing. So if persons or communities have transgressed the value and norms laid down by the deity, they expect the wrath of the deity in the form of preventive or destructive events. Sacrifices now assumes the function of reconciling the deity to the transgressor. Ahun, it's no more an expression of submission. It is now ምንድነው ኃጢአትን ለኃጢአት የሚቀርብ ለበደል የሚቀርብ ስለሆነ ይቅርታን ወይም እርቅን የሚጠይቁበት ይሆናል ማለት ነው። As a sign of repentance and contrition, sacrifice can take the form of self-mutilation, which does not seem to benefit the deity in any way. It is clear, therefore, that the rationale is not a pay off a debt or make amends, but once again to acknowledge one's dependence and abandon the usurped autonomy which the iniquity had manifested. So ንስሐ በቀረበ ይህንን ሳክሪፋይስ አምጥተው ስለበደላቸው as a sign of repentance ባቀረቡት ጊዜ ራሳቸውን አይደል ራሳቸውን ነው እንግዲህ በዚህ ሳክሪፋይስ ውስጥ as represent አድርጓቸው ሳክሪፋይስ ራሳቸውን ነው በእግዚአብሔር ፊት ያቀረቡ ያሉት። ሶ ይሄም ራሱ ለአምላክ መለኮትን የሚጠቅም አይደለም። ዞሮ ዞሮ እነሱን የሚጠቅም እግዚአብሔርን ቁጣ ከነሱ ላይ የሚያነሳላቸው በእግዚአብሔር ፊት ያለውን በደላቸውን የሚያስወግድላቸው ነገር ነው። ዞሮ ዞሮ አሁንም የሚጠቅመው እነሱ ነው። once again it's also an acknowledgement of dependence. አሁን ይሄ ኃጢአትን በደልንም ከላያቸው ላይ ለማንሳት አሁንም ወደ መለኮት መምጣት አለባቸው። አሁንም በመለኮት ላይ ዲፔንደንት ናቸው። ትክክለኛ ሳክሪፋይስ ባቀረቡ ጊዜ መለኮትን ደግሞ እግዚአብሔርም the deity ያንን ተቀብሎ ኃጢአታቸውን በደላቸውን ይቅር። still sacrifice አሁንም ማንንም የሚጠቅመው ማለት ነው አቅራቢውን ነው የሚጠቅመው ማለት ነው። ለየስ በአምላክ ፊት የሚቀርብ ነው። ግን ምንም እኔ እንደውም እግዚአብሔር ትዝ ይላችሁ እንደውም በአንድ ወቅት ላይ እኔ አልፈልገውም መስዋዕታችሁ ሁሉ ብሏል። ብፈልግ በተራራ ላይ ያሉት እንስሶች ሁሉ የኔ ናቸው እናንተን መስዋዕት ፈልጌ አይደለም ይላል። ያ መስዋዕቱ የተሰጠው ለህዝቡ ስለነበረ ማለት ነው። እግዚአብሔር አልነበረም ያስፈልገው ህዝቡ ስለነበረ። And the third purpose or aim is covenant relationship. The covenant relationship with the Lord was the basis for sacrifice in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy የምናገኘው sacrifice በዙ ምንድነው covenant relationship ነው ፋውንዴሽኑ እሱ ነው ማለት ነው። The people were chosen by the Lord out of all the nations of the earth in Deuteronomy chapter 10. As a result, they were expected to be a holy nation, reverencing the Lord. The covenant ceremony in Deuteronomy 26, which immediately follows the tithe declaration and ends the stipulation section of the book of Deuteronomy, makes the concept of the uniqueness of the Israelite peoples obvious. So, a covenant relationship, በተመለከ የሚያቀርቡት መስዋዕት የሳክሪፋይሱ covenant sacrifice ብለን ቀድም ያየነው የሱ ቤዚክ ነገር ነው። የተለዩ ሰዎች መሆናቸውን ከአምላክ ጋር የቃል ኪዳን ግንኙነት እንዳላቸው በእግዚአብሔር የተመረጡ መሆናቸውን የሚያሳዩበት መስዋዕት ነው። ለሌላውም ከነሱ አልፎ ለሌላውም ትውልድ የሚታይ መስዋዕት ነው ማለት ነው። ሶ ያንን ኮቨናንት ሪሌሽንሺፓቸውን ሜንቴን ለማድረግ ያንን ኮቨናንት ሪሌሽንሺፓቸውን ሁሉ ጊዜ ሪኒው ለማድረግ ሪስቶር ለማድረግ ይህንን ሳክሪፋይስ ይጠቀማሉ። ሶ the aim is for covenant relationship and finally the aim is for fellowship. Another peculiar characteristics of the sacrificial system is the idea of fellowship with the Lord and the community at the central sanctuary. And you shall eat there before the Lord your God and rejoice with your households, in Deuteronomy 14. This phrase strongly suggests that the Lord was more than an interested observer in what was going on. ዝም ብሎ ኦብዘርቭ የሚያደርግ አይደለም እግዚአብሔር ግን ፌሎሺፕ የሚያደርግ ነው ከነሱ ጋር አክቲቭሊ ፌሎሺፕን የሚያደርግ አምላክ ነው the Lord was participant for such was the nature of banquets that accompanied the making and ratification of covenant relationship so as an observer የሚቀመጥ አይደለም ከነሱ ጋር ፌሎሺፕ የሚያደርግ ነው so mostly እንደ አዲስ ኪዳን አማኞች ሳክሪፋይስን ስናስብ ብዙ ጊዜ ሳክሪፋይስን የምናገናኘው ከኃጢያትና ከጊልት ጋር ብቻ ነው ብዙ ጊዜ የምናገናኘው ማለት ነው ቤዚክሊ አሁን የዕብራውያን መጽሐፍን ስናነብ የዕብራውያን መጽሐፍን it seems like ዛሬ በጣም ፎከስ የሚያደርግ በተለይ ከምዕራፍ I think 8 በኋላ ምዕራፍ 9 በኋላ ስለ መስዋዕቱ ስለ ቤተ መቅደሱ የተለያየ ስለ ካህናቶቹ አልፎ አልፎም ከመጀመሪያም ጀምሮ ስለ ካህናቱ ስለ ፕሪስቱዱ ሲያወራ ሳክሪፋይስ ብለን ስናስብ ብዙ ጊዜ ለኃጢያት የሚቀርብ ለበደል የሚቀርብን መስዋዕት ብቻ አድርገን እናስበዋለን ግን it has all this dimension and all this importance ማለት ነው but at the end of the day the purpose and the aim is to maintain their relationship with God their covenant relationship with God to cleanse themselves and to bring themselves to the standard of that በዛ covenant relationship በዛ fellowship ሲሆኑ አንድ ሊይዙት የሚገባ ስታንዳርድ አለ ወይም መለኮት የሚፈልገው የሚጠብቀው ያንን ለመፈጸም በደልን ኃጢያትን ከራሳቸው ላይ ለማስወገድ ብሎም ደግሞ አልፎ ከዛ ባሻገር ከመለኮት ጋር ደግሞ ፌሎሺፕን ለማድረግ እንደሆነ እናያለን as a conclusion this section has shown that sacrifice occupies a central place in the worship life of the Old Testament as I said when I start this section እነኚህ ሶስቱ worship sacrifice and priesthood ለያይተን የምናያቸው አይደሉም አንዱ አላንዱ ምንም ዋጋ የለውም ስለዚህ sacrifice central place ይዛል in the worship life of the Old Testament አመለኩ ሲባል ይሄንን መስዋዕት በማቅረብ ነው አምልኳቸውን በእግዚአብሔር ፊት የሚያቀርቡት ማለት ነው the believing community performed sacrifices as an expression of dependency on God as an acknowledgement of guilt before God as a covenant relationship and as a mark of fellowship with the deity and the community so እነኚህ አራቱን ዓላማዎች በደንብ ያዘ they express their dependency on God they acknowledge their guilt before God and also they maintain their covenant relationship with God it is also a mark of fellowship with the deity and also the community ያንን ሲያቀርቡ as an individual as a community ይሄንን ዓላማ በደንብ ያዘ ነው ማለት ነው the priests play the pivotal role in the ritual of which he is compensating with offerings and proceeds for the sacrifice so በጣም ሜጀር ፕሌይ አለው ማንንም ሰው ተነስቶ ሄዶ የሚያቀርበው አይደለም የሳኦል ላይፍ ላይ እንደምንመለከተው ሳኦል እግዚአብሔርን የበደለው አታቀርብ የተባለው ወይ ነው ቸኩሎ ሳሙኤል እስኪመጣ ድረስ ቸኩሎ መስዋዕትን አቅርቦ እግዚአብሔር በፊቴ ነውር የሆነ ነገር አደረገ እንዳለውና እግዚአብሔርም ደግሞ ፍርድ እንዳመጣበት እናያለን so priests play just a central pivotal role in this sacrifice in this ritual the sacrifice acceptable to God today, when we bring it to us, the sacrifice acceptable to God today is not the presentation of animals or agriculture products. We're not doing that. According to Hebrews, we're not expected to do that. It's obvious we're not doing it. But what we are doing is what is expected of us as a New Testament believer is a humble submission in faith and obedience to supreme sacrifice on behalf of humanity made by our Lord Jesus Christ. በሰው ምትክ ultimate የሆነ supreme sacrifice ሆኖ ራሱን ለእግዚአብሔር እንደ መስዋዕት ላቀረበው ለኢየሱስ በክርስቶስ ማመን ለሱም ደግሞ መገዛት ከኛ የሚጠበቅ ነገር ነው, which has obligated over other forms of ritual sacrifices. So this idea of sacrifice ከኦልድ ቴስታመንት መጥቶ ኒው ቴስታመንት ሁሉ እንደገባ ማየት እንችላለን ማለት ነው. ኒው ቴስታመንት ውስጥ ገብቷል. አላማው በተለይ ገብቷል. ፌሎሺፕን ከፈለገ ኮቨነንትን ከፈለገ ከእግዚአብሔር ጋር መታረቅን ከፈለገ ከእግዚአብሔር ጋር ያለን ሪሌሽንሺፕ ሜንቴን ማድረግ ከፈለግን ሳክሪፋይስ አሁንም ያስፈልጋል. ግን እኛም እናቀርበው አይደለም. አሁን ለአንዴና ለመጨረሻ ጊዜ ራሱን መስዋዕት አድርጎ በእግዚአብሔር ፊት ቀረበልን በክርስቶስ ኢየሱስ በማመን እኛን ወክሎ በሞተው በተነሳው በኢየሱስ የመስዋዕት ስራ በማመን እሱን በመገዛት we keep that covenantal relationship, we keep or we have that fellowship with God. ከእግዚአብሔር ጋር ህብረትን ፌሎሺፕን የምናደርግበት መንገድ ነው ማለት ነው. በዚህ ይህንን ቲም እናጠቃልላለን. ጥያቄ ያለው ካለ እሺ ዴቪድ.
Thank you so much. But it was very interesting. I just have few questions. የመጀመሪያው ጥያቄ I'm just curious, የመጀመሪያዎቹ sacrifice አቅራቢዎች አቤልና ቃይን how did they really knew that God needed a sacrifice? ማለት ባይብል ላይ አዳም ወይም ሔዋን ሲያቀርቡ አንመለከትም. የመጀመሪያዎቹ ያቀረቡት አቤልና ቃይን ናቸውና በሬቨሌሽን ተገልጦላቸው ነው ወይስ አዳም ነግሯቸው ነው? just I don't know, just curious ነውና ምክንያቱም ሌሎቹ ሲወርድ ሲዋረድ ከሌላው ያየ የሰማ እንትን ሊል ይችላልና የመጀመሪያዎቹ ግን እንዴት እንዳወቁ። ሁለተኛው ጥያቄ በብለድ ኦሪየንትድ ሳክሪፋይስ ላይ በሲን ኦፈሪንግ እና በጊልት ኦፈሪንግ መካከል ያለው ልዩነት ትንሽ ግልጽ አልሆነልኝም። ማለት I think ግልቱም ወይም ደግሞ የዛው የኃጢያቱ ሪዛልት አይደለ? ዲፈረንሱ ምንድነው? በሲን ኦፈሪንግ እና በጊልት ኦፈሪንግ ላይ ዛሽ ላይ ትንሽ እንትን ክሊር እንዲደረግልኝ ፈልጋለሁ። የመጨረሻው ጥያቄ እነዚህ ሳክሪፋይሶች ከነዚህ ውስጥ የትኛው ነው ማንዳቶሪ አንድ እስራኤላዊ ግዴታ ማቅረብ ወይም ማምጣት የሚጠበቅበትና የተወሰኑ ኦፕሽናል ይሆኑ አሉ በራሱ ፈቃድ ሳይገደድ የሚያመጣቸውና how often በምን ያህል ጊዜ ኢንተርቫል ነው ማለት every time ኃጢያት በሰራ weekly ወይም ደግሞ monthly ነው yearly ነው but how often it should sacrifice ማቅረብ የሚያቀርቡት የነበረው እንዴት ነውና ማንዳቶሪ ከነዚህ ውስጥ ማንዳቶሪ የሆኑትስ የትኞቹ ታይፖች ናቸው ነው? thank you.
እሺ thank you David. interesting ጥያቄዎች። የመጀመሪያው it's also my question የኔም ጥያቄ ነው። መጽሐፉ ስለማይል እንደዚህ ነው የሚለው ብዬ ምንም ነገር እዚህ ላይ ኢምፖዝ አላደርግም። ሁሉ ጊዜ ሳነበው የምገረምበት ነው። እንዴት አቀረቡ ለምን አቀረቡ የሚለው የኔም ጥያቄ ነው። መጽሐፉ ምንም አይነግረንም። ሌሎች እንትኖችን ምንም እንግዲህ እኛ የመጽሐፍ ቅዱስን አጻጻፍ ምናምን ከሆነ እንዳልከው ከነሱ በፊት ያሉት አዳምና ሔዋን ናቸው። አዳምና ሔዋን ደግሞ አይደለም በዛን ጊዜ ከዛም በኋላ መስዋዕት ሲያቀርቡ አይታዩ ምንም እንትን አያሳይም። ግን I don't think we can say ከዚህ ተማሩት ማለት አንችልም። መጽሐፉም ጀስት ሲምፕሊ የሚለን ቃየል ከእርሻው አይደለ ያኛው ደግሞ ከከብቶቹ ካለው ከላይፍ ስቶኩ አምጥቶ እንዳቀረበ እናያለን። I don't think even the purpose was that ቅድም እንዳልኩት I think the purpose was to show well እንግዲህ የመጽሐፍ ቅዱስን አጻጻፍ ስናይ የመጽሐፍ ቅዱስ አጻጻፍ ፐርፐዝ ኦሪየንትድ ነው፣ ሴሌክቲቭ ነው አይደለ? ይሄ ብቻ የመጀመሪያውም የመጨረሻውም ላይሆን ይችላል። እዚህ ላይ ግን በተለይ ደግሞ የወደቀው ሰው ውስጥ እየተገለጠ የመጣውን የኃጢአትን ወይም ደግሞ የውስጥን መበላሸት ሞር የምናይባቸው ነገሮች ነው የምናየው። የተበላሹ ነገሮች ነው ሞር የሚያሳየን እንጂ ሜቢ ፕሮባብሊ የመጀመሪያቸውም የመጨረሻቸውም አይ ዶንት ኖ ሜቢ የመጀመሪያቸው ላይሆን ይችላል። ግን ምንድነው የቃየል ልብ እንዴት ትክክል እንዳልነበር ኃጢአት በደጅ ታደባብሃለች ያንን የሰው ልጅን ውድቀት ለማሳየት የተጻፈ ነው። እንደውም ሄዶ ምዕራፍ 6 ቁጥር 5 ላይ በጣም ሾኪንግ የሆነ ስቴትመንት እግዚአብሔር ይናገራል። እግዚአብሔር የሰው ልብ ሙሉ ለሙሉ all his intentions ቶታሊ ኢቪል እንደሆነ ኮንቲኒየስሊ ኢቪል እንደሆነ አየ የሚለው ነገር ያሳይ። የውድቀቱን እንትን ለማሳየት አፍተር ማት ወይ ከወደቀ በኋላ ሰው ምን ሆነ የሚለውን ነገር ለማሳየት ይመስለኛል። እንግዲህ ብዙ ጊዜ እንደ ቀልድ እንደምንለው ስንሄድ እንጠይቃቸዋለን። አይ ዶንት እኔ ምንም መልስ በዚህ ጉዳይ ልሰጣች፣ ግን it's also my question. It's just sometimes we love to read between the lines አይደለ? Yeah, it's a good question. መጠየቅ ጥሩ ነው፣ ግን አንዳንድ ጊዜ ደግሞ አላቅምም ማለት ደግሞ ጥበብ ነው። ያ ምንም ልልህ አልችልም። በዚህ በብለድ ኦፈሪንግ እና በሲን ኦፈሪንግ እና በጊልት ኦፈሪንግ መካከል እሱን የቱ ጋር ነው? ሲን ኦፈሪንግ ይሄኛው ነው አይደለ? ይሄ ሲን ኦፈሪንግ ከሙሴ በኋላ የመጣ ኦፈሪንግ ነው። ሴንሻሊ ለበደል ነው በቃ አይደል? ኤክስፒያቶሪ ነው። በዛ ምትክ ለመንጻት ለመቀደስ በደል ተደርጓል ወይም ኃጢአት ተሰርቶ ለዛ የሚቀርብ ነው። intended to restore covenant relationship with the deity ነው እና የመስዋዕቱ ስርዓት ይለያል። አንድ ምንድነው ደሙ በሳንክቹሪ ላይ ይረጫል አይደለ? በቤተ መቅደሱ ላይ ይረጫል። ከዛ በአልተሩ ሆርን ላይ ይሄ የዕጣን መሰዊያ ሆርን ላይ ይደረጋል። ከዛ በኋላ ደግሞ በመሰዊያው ስር ይፈሳል። ስጋው በአቅራቢው በወርሺፐሩ አይነካም። ሙሉ ለሙሉ በፕሪስቱ ይበላል። ይሄ ዴይ ኦፍ አቶንመንት ላይ የሚያቀርቡትም መስዋዕት ነው። ሲን ኦፈሪንግ ለኃጢአት የሚቀርብ ኦፈሪንግ ነው ይሄ ኦፈሪንግ። ወደ ጊልት ኦፈሪንግ ስንመጣ ጊልት ኦፈሪንግ ትራንስፓስ ኦፈሪንግ ኦር ኦፈሪንግ ፎር ሲን ኢትስ ኦልሶ ሲን ነው። ኢትስ አ ሲን ኦፈሪንግ ተመሳሳይ ነው። እሱም ራሱ የኃጢአት መስዋዕት ነው። ስፔሻል ካይንድ ኦፍ ሲን ኦፈሪንግ ስፔሲፊክ ያደርገዋል ግን ሲኑን ማለት ነው። ያኛው ለጀነራል ሲን ነው፣ ይሄኛው ስፔሲፊክ ያደርገዋል። introduced in the Mosaic law and concerned with offenses against God and man that could be estimated by money value በገንዘብም ቫልዩ ሊሰጥ የሚችለው አይነት ነገር ነው። ይሄ ደግሞ ምንድነው በሰው ላይም በእግዚአብሔር ላይም በደል ሊደረግ ይችላል። ስለዚህ ምናልባት ለየት ኃጢአት ነው በደል ነው ስቲል ለየት የሚያደርገው ግን ከሆነ አክሽን በኋላ የሚመጣ ወይም የሚቀርብ መስዋዕት ነው። ከዛ ጋር በተለይ እንግዲህ በእግዚአብሔር ፊት ሲያቀርቡ ራም ነው የሚያቀርቡት አይደለ? ቫልዩ አሁን ዳሜጅ የሆነው ነገር ቫልዩ የሚሞላ አይነት ራም ነው የሚያቀርቡት። የሚገዙት ነገር በዛ ቫልዩ ልክ ነው የሚገዙት። ከዛ በኋላ የሚያቀርቡት ሙሉ ለሙሉ ደሙ በመሰዊያው ፊት ይፈሳል። ከዛ በኋላ አብረው ያቀረቡት ዋጋ የሚያቀርቡት ሌሎች ነገሮች በገንዘብም በሌላም ቫልዩ ባለው ነገር የሚመጣው ደግሞ በደል ለተደረገበት ሰው የሚቀርብ ነው። ስለዚህ it is still under the sin offering ግን probably በሰው ላይም ላቀረቡት በደል ሊፈጽሙት የሚችሉት ነው አሁን ለምሳሌ ናዛሬት ማለት የተለዩ ናቸው አይደለ እነኚህ የሚጠበቅባቸውን ያን ነገር ባልፈጸሙ ጊዜ ሊያቀርቡት የሚችሉት ነው እነሱም ጊልት ፈጽመዋል ምክንያቱም ምንድነው ሆነ ኦፌንስ አገንስት ጋድ አድርገዋል አንድ እግዚአብሔር አታድርጉ ያላቸው ነው ለምሳሌ አንዱ የሞተ ነገር መንካት የለባቸው የሞተ ነገር ከነኩ ሊያቀርቡ ይችላሉ it's an offense against God የሌላውን ሰው ደግሞ ንብረት አጥፍተው ከሆነ ሌላውን ሰው በተለያየ ነገር በድለው ከሆነ የሚያቀርቡት ነገር ይችላል so it is kind of ሰፊ ነው ያኛው ግን it's a sin በቃ በኃጢአት በበደል ምክንያት ቢያንስ በየቀኑ እንኳን ባያቀርቡት በአመት አንድ ጊዜ ግን ሊያቀርቡት የሚችሉት ጊልት ኦፈሪንግ ግን በደልን በፈጸሙ ጊዜ የሚያቀርቡት ያኛው ሁሉ ጊዜ ወይም ቢያንስ በአመት አንድ ጊዜ የሚያቀርቡት ነገር ነው ዋና የሚባሉት ሲን ኦፈሪንግ አውቶኖመንት ሲን ኦፈሪንግ በጣም ዋና አይደል እንደገና ደግሞ ከአመታዊ በዓላቶቻቸው ጋር አብሮ ከፋሲካ ጋር የሚያቀርቡት አለ አይደለ ከተለያየ ነገር ጋር ቢያንስ በአመት 4 ጊዜ የሚያቀርቧቸው መስዋዕቶች የሚያቀርቧቸው በዓላት አሉ ከዛ ጋር አብሮ የሚያቀርቡት አለ ለምሳሌ የመወዝወዝ በዓል ይሄ ምንድነው እንትን በዓል የሚባለው ሃርቨስት ላይ የሚያቀርቡት ነው so every year when there is harvest ያቀርቡታል ማለት ነው ሲዝኑን እየጠበቁ ማለት ነው በመድረ በዳ የነበሩበትን ጊዜ ያንን ሪቹዋል የሚያቀርቡበት አለ ያንን አመታዊ ቢያንስ በአመት 4 ጊዜ በበዓሎቻቸው ልክ የሚያቀርቧቸው እነኚህ 4 መስዋዕቶች በጣም ዋና ናቸው ሌሎቹ ግን according to the convention of the heart አይደል ከልባቸው ፌሎሺፕ ማድረግ ሲፈልጉ as a family as an individual በደል ሲፈጽሙ የሚያቀርቡት ነው ማለት ነው ከመለስኩልህ ማለት ነው ማንዳቶሪ የሚባሉት 4ቱ ናቸው ማንዳቶሪ ከበዓላቶቻቸው ጋር የሚያቀርቧቸው 4ቱ ናቸው
thank you በጣም thank you
ፒተር እጅን አንስተ ነበር
አዎ አንስቼ ነበር ምናልባት ቅድም የተነሳው ጥያቄ ላይ ከዘፍጥረት ምዕራፍ 3 ላይ አዳምና ሔዋን ኃጢአት ሰርተው ከገነት ከማባረራቸው በፊት ራቁታቸው እንደነበሩ ይታወቃል ቅጠል ለብሰዋል
እሺ
ልክ ቁጥር 21 ላይ ምን ይላል ቁርበት ልብስ አለበሳቸው ይላል ያ ቁርበት ከየት መጣ ምናልባት ዘፍጥረት 4 ላይ ያለውን ይመልስልን ይሆን ወይ the first አንድም ለነሱ ሳክሪፋይ የተደረገ ነገር አለ ወይ ያንን አያመላክትም ወይ
we are reading into the story አሁንም still we are reading into the story of course የሆነ ያው የመስዋዕት አንዳንድ ቡኮች መጽሐፎች ላይ ስታነቡ ስለ መስዋዕት የሚያወር ከዛ ጋር ይጀምራል የመጀመሪያው መስዋዕት የሰዋው እንደም እግዚአብሔር ነው ብለው የሚጽፉ የሚያምኑ ስኮላርስ አሉ well I don't know ሊያስኬድ ይችላል ግን I don't think that was the purpose of it ያንን ከዛ ጋር ለማገናኘት የሚሞክሩ አሉ እንግዲህ I cannot say እኔ ከዛ ጋር የተገናኘ ነው ብዬ ያንን እንግዲህ አዳምና ሔዋን ነግረዋቸው ማለት ነው ለነ አቤል
ሊሆን ይችላል የሚል ግንትና ምክንያቱም አንድ የነዚህ ሰዎች አለመጥፋት ኮምፕሊትሊ በእግዚአብሔር ቁጣ አለመመታት ራሱ እግዚአብሔር የራራበት መንገድ በኋላ ላይ ደግሞ አኒማል ሳክሪፋይስን በእንትኑ መሰረት አብርሃምም ሲያመጣው እናያለን በኋላ ላይ ህግ ሆኖም ሲመጣ እናያለን ምናልባት እዛ ጋር እሱ ለነሱ ያደረገው ነገር something ሞዴል መሆን ይችላል የሆነ እና አዳምና ሔዋን ጭንቅላት ውስጥ እነዚህ ነገሮች እንዳሉ ያስቡ ይሆን ምክንያቱም አንድ የሆነ አኒማል ተገሎ ነው እነዚህ ሰዎች የለበሱት ምንም
ያስኬዳል እንደዚህ የሚያምኑ አሉ እንደዚህ የሚያምኑ መጽሐፎችን ስኮላርስ ልታገኙ ትችላላችሁ ያስኬዳል if it is not reading too much into the passage ያስኬዳል። አይ ዊሽ እኔ አሁን አንድ one of the authors ከዛ በኋላ የጻፉ ሰዎች አንዱ እንኳን ይሁን ነገር ሜንሽን ቢያደርገው አዲስ ኪዳን ላይ ሜንሽን ቢደረግ it is very important። አሁን እግዚአብሔር እውነት እዛ ቦታ ላይ የሆነ መስዋዕት አድርጎ አርዶ እነኝን ሰዎች አለበሳቸው ቢባል በአዲስ ኪዳን ያሉ ጸሐፊዎች ይሄንን ሊጽፉት አይችሉም ነበር ወይ ብዬ እኔ ቫልዩ ያጣበኛል። እዛ በተለይ አዲስ የኒው ቴስታመንት እንትኖች ሄደው እሱ ጋር ሲያመጡ አናይም። በተለይ ዕብራውያን ላይ ስትመለከቱ እያንዳንዱ የክርስቶስ ኢየሱስ የመስቀል ስራ ሳክሪፋይስ መሆኑ ከሌቪቲካል ፕሪስትሁድ ጋር የሚያገናኝ ማች የሚያደርገው ከዛ ጋር ነው፣ ከዛ በፊት ጋር ካለው ጋር ስላይደለ ማለት ነው። ሶ ለኔ ትንሽ reading too much into the passages ግን ዝም ብለን ደግሞ ስናስበው ኦፍ ኮርስ ኬት ያመጣል እንግዲህ እግዚአብሔር ብሎ የሆነ ቁርበት አምጥቶ ካላለበሳቸው ውጪ ሊያርጉ ሊሆን ይችላል። አይ ዶንት ኖ እንግዲህ ጥሩ ሀሳብ ነው። it's a good insight። እሺ ዘላለም
ታንክ ዩ ቲቸር። ዛሬ በጣም ኢንተረስቲንግ ቶፒክ ነበር። አመሰግናለሁ። እስራኤላኖች በሚኖሩባቸው አካባቢዎች የሌሎቹም ኮሚኒቲዎች ተመሳሳይ የሆነ የሳክሪፊሻል ሲስተም አላቸው። ምናልባት ከነዚህ ጋር ይመሳሰል አይመሳሰልም እና ሞስትሊ የዛ ሳክሪፊሻል ሲስተም የሚጠቃው ማኒፑሌሽን አለው ብለው ነው የሚያስቡት። ፊር ስላላቸው ቅድም ማንቺም ስታነሹ ነበርና ለምሳሌ ዲቲን ኔቸር ዲቲ ካደረጉት ያንን ማኒፑሌት አድርገው ከዛ ፊር የሚያወጣቸውን ሲስተም ወይም ሳክሪፋይስ ሲስተም ዲፋይን ያደርጋሉ የሚል መጽሐፍም አንብቤያለሁ። ከወርሺፕ ጋር ተያይዞ ያለ መጽሐፍ ማለት ነውና አንደኛ ይሄ ቅድም ሲባል የነበረው ሳክሪፋይ አክናውሌጅመንት ኦፍ ቱ ገልቲ የሚል አንድ ፐርፐስ ታነሽልን ነበረ። ሜቢ ሰዎች ይህን ሳክሪፊሻል ወደ እግዚአብሔር ሲያቀርቡ ለራሳቸው ሪስፖንስ እንጂ እግዚአብሔር ያንን ፈልጎት አይደለም የሚል አንድምታ አለው ማለት ነውና በተቃራኒውስ ብናስበው ምን መልስ ሊኖረን ይችላል? ምክንያቱም ኦፈሪንጉን አምጥተዋል፣ ኦፈሪንጉ በርንድ አድርጓልና እግዚአብሔር ያንን ሊጠቀሙ አይደለም ቅድምም ሲባለው እንደነበረው ግን እንዲቀርብ ፈልጓልና ስለዚህ እንዲህ አይነት ጥያቄ በሚነሳ ምን መልስ ሊኖረን ይችላል? ምክንያቱም ያስፈልገዋል ያው ለሌላ አይነት ፐርፐስ ሳይሆን ያው ለሰውየው ሳክሪፋይስ ሲስተም ግን እንዲህ አይነት ጥያቄ ቢነሳ ምን አይነት ሪስፖንስ ሊኖረን ይችላል የሚለውን ነገር ሰፋል ታውሪልም ከተረዳሽ።
እሺ ጥሩ ጥያቄ ነው በጣም። እነኝን ሳክሪፋይሶች አሁን ሁለቱን በተለይ ከሙሴ በፊትና ከሙሴ በኋላ ያሉት በደንብ ኮምፔር እያደረጋችሁ ብትመለከቱ ከሙሴ በፊት ያሉት በሙሉ ሳክሪፋይሶች አንድም ቦታ ላይ እግዚአብሔር ዳይሬክሽን አልሰጠም፣ አንድም ቦታ ላይ እግዚአብሔር ሬጉሌሽን አልሰጠም። እነኚህ ሰዎች ቢኖሩበት በነበረው ዘመን ውስጥ ግን ይኖሩበት ከነበረው ኮሚኒቲ ያ that is one of the religious practices። ስለዚህ ያንን ነገር እግዚአብሔር ሲቀበልላቸው እናያለን። ወይም ደግሞ እግዚአብሔር አልቀበልም ሲል አናይም። የትኛውም ቦታ ላይ አይደል በየሄዱበት ቦታ ላይ እግዚአብሔር ስም ጠሩ አይደል መስዋዕት አቀረቡ፣ እግዚአብሔር አሸተተው ተቀበለው፣ በዛ ምክንያት እግዚአብሔር ባረካቸው የሚል ነገር አናይም። it's an act of devotion። እነኚህ ሰዎች የሚያሳዩት act of devotion ነው። ያ ለነሱ የሚያቀርቡት ነገር ነው። ያንን ተቀብሎ እግዚአብሔር as a consequence of that ምንም ነገር ሲያደርግላቸው አናይም። እንደውም እግዚአብሔር ለምሳሌ አብርሃም በአዲስ ኪዳንም አብርሃም ስለሰው ስላቀረባቸው መስዋዕቶች አንድም ቦታ ላይ አልተወራለትም፣ ስለ እምነቱ ግን ተወርቶለታል። እንደውም አንድ ቦታ ላይ እግዚአብሔር ሄዶ ልጅህን አቀርብ አሰዋልኝ ብሎታል። አሁን ይሄ ነገር ይሄ ትሬንድ በሌሎች ኔሽኖች ውስጥ የሚደረግ ትሬንድ ነው አይደለ? ይታወቃል። ምን እየጠየቀው እንደሆነ አብርሃም እግዚአብሔር ምን እየጠየቀው እንደሆነ ያውቃል። ሄዶም ደግሞ ምንም እንጨት ይዞ እንትን ይዞ መሰዊያ አድርጎ አክሽኑ ሁሉን ነገር ያውቀዋል። ግን እግዚአብሔር የማይቀበለው የማይፈልገው መስዋዕት ስለሆነ ወይም ደግሞ መታዘዙን የሚያይበት ስለሆነ አቁም ብሎ ሌላ ሰብስቲቱት ሲያደርግለት እናያለን። ይሄንን በእነሱ እንግዲህ መለኮት ማለት ሬቨሌሽን ኢዝ ፕሮግሬሲቭሊ ያለ መገለጥ ነው። በተለይ እግዚአብሔር ፕሮግሬሲቭሊ የተገለጠላቸው አንዱ ከእግዚአብሔር ኔቸር ውስጥ በጣም የማደንቀው ማለት በጣም የምገረምበት ነገር ምንድነው? በሰው ልክ ወርዶ ነው እግዚአብሔር ይሰራ የነበረው። ስለዚህ እነኚህ ሰዎች በነበሩበት ኮሚኒቲ ውስጥ በነበሩበት ሪሊጂየስ ፕራክቲስ ውስጥ ያዩትን ነገር ሲያቀርቡ ሲያደርጉ በዛ ውስጥ እግዚአብሔር ሲከለክላቸው አናይም። ይህንን በማድረጋቸው ምንም ነገር ሲያደርግላቸው የተለያየ ስፔሻል ብሌሲንግም ሲያደርግላቸው አናይም። ግን እነሱ የሚጠቀሙት ቤኔፊት ግን ነበር። ያ ምንድነው? አን አክት ኦፍ ፌዝ አይደል? እያንዳንዱ ሳክሪፋይስ በአጠቃላይ ብትመለከቱት አን አክት ኦፍ ፌዝ ለዛ እምነት ግን እግዚአብሔር መልስ ሲሰጥ እናያለን። ፕሮቴክሽን ለሚያስፈልገው ፕሮቴክሽን ይሰጣል። አቅጣጫ